देश के नाम पे सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो क्या किया दोस्तों, सब्सक्राइब करके जाना और वीडियो देखना आखिर तक। जय श्री राम।
Because whatever
Fire
they
and
will
blood,
do,
yes,
they
even I
will
am
be
trembling.
facilitated
I'm
by
asking
the
you.
world powers.
I'm
They are
asking
going
you.
to be facilitated by the world powers.
No, forget the world power, sir. I'm asking you why aren't you answering my question very straight? You're talking about the implications.
Yeah, I cannot
I'm talking
forget.
about Dr. Rehmani. I'm asking you a very straightforward question. The Taliban, do you believe the Taliban should be dismantled immediately? I'm asking you.
How can I reply this?
How can I reply?
How can I reply this? I have seen those who came on 7 October 2001
if you believe
with
that the Taliban
bombing the
is
Afghan and Taliban with
is a dark
no,
which is making you shudder. You would want them to be flattened out. Let me open this up. Okay, Dr. Rehmani, I understand you are not taking a clear position tonight.
The people who spent $3 trillion.
No, you forget about the $3 trillion. I only asked you, bhai, should the Taliban be dismantled? And you say, how can you say? Fair enough. I understand that some Satans for you are more palatable than others. Okay, let me open this up. Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
रुको जरा सबर करो
Ranganathan,
and you are
Dr. T.A. Rehmani, who has lost cadre, and I'm not saying this, the cadre themselves say this, that we, and Shashi Tharoor said it very clearly, that cadre of the SDPI in Kerala has gone and joined the Taliban. He even put out a big clip and all of that. I'm not saying it. This is all now pretty clear. They've returned. Some of them are still stuck there. Now, party that has lost its cadre to this obscurantism, I would have thought that Dr. Rehmani should have said to us tonight clearly, I want the Taliban to be destroyed. But he hasn't. Why do you think this is the case?
No, good evening, Rahul. I also welcome Dr. Rehmani. Very, very welcome, Dr. Rehmani. But I don't know why you should be surprised, Rahul, that a chunk of SDPI or PFI cadre has gone to ISIS. This is for the Muslim Ummah. And yesterday, when this terrorist Gilani died, I was going through the translation of his book, which was published in 1995, and I came upon a startling quote where Gilani is pleading to the Mujahideen of Afghanistan in 1980s, and I quote him. He says, I plead to you, Afghan Mujahideen, to come to Kashmir and liberate us and fulfill your Ummah religious commitment. So this is nothing new. This should not surprise. What amuses me is that my good Dr. Rehmani is castigating ISIS and Taliban for being un-Islamic, whereas the organization he represents chopped off the hand of a Christian because they thought that this guy, the teacher, was insulting Prophet Muhammad. This is now, please, Dr. Rehmani, I didn't interrupt. Please, let's maintain the decorum. So, Rahul, very quickly, you must understand, Rahul, that this is nothing new. Look, in 2019, the reputed German newspaper Welt came up with an astonishing statistic in its report, quote, 18 years of terror. It says Islamist extremists have perpetrated 31,221 terror attacks and killed 146,811 people worldwide since 9/11. That's an average 5 terror attacks every single day for 18 years. They publish each and every terror attack in that newspaper. You should go through that. It's unbelievable. Look, this is a never-ending process, and we have to be realistic about it. Ambedkar understood this really well, as he reiterated that as far as Islam is concerned, the world is divided into 2 regions, Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Islam. And Muslims cannot rest until Dar al-Harb is converted into Dar al-Islam. A country which is ruled by a kafir, said Ambedkar, is Dar al-Harb to a Musliman. The basic feelings of deference and sympathy which predispose persons to obey the authority of the government do not simply exist. I mean, this is not me saying this, Rahul. So Muslim apologists or Dr. Rehmani should direct their rage at Ambedkar, not me. Please, I don't know why I become the fall guy. But then what will happen if they direct their rage to Ambedkar? What will happen to Jai Bhim, Jai Meen? Look, every single time the apologists cringe at Islamist violence or retribution, They bring out the excuse of context or interpretation so as to hide the true meaning. This despite them knowing very well that most such decrees are open-ended and for all time. Just who is a believer or a non-believer has been explicitly defined in the Holy Book. 33, 36, 3, 132, 8, 2, 49, 15. And the disbelievers of that time, polytheists, Christians, Jews, apostates, were seen to possess certain characteristics. And it is these characteristics that are condemned and ordered to be punished in the Holy Book. The orders are not for the non-believers of that time. They are for anyone who possesses these characteristics for all time. All Muslim schools accept this. 1.8 billion Muslims accept this. So they are wrong. And these handful of deceiving moderates are right. Look, those who abuse Allah and His messengers, Allah has cursed them and prepared for them a humiliating punishment, is context devoid. Those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire. 456 is context devoid. No other deity has the right to be worshipped except Allah. 4062 is context devoid. The irony is that the apologists who themselves are Islamophobic want non-believers against whom so much violence has been ordered to feel good about it and not be fearful. Arey bhai, kyun? Kaapenge, kafir na. I know the response, Rahul, just 10 seconds, to Muslims, to my argument is always going to be that I am quoting verses out of context. That why don't you quote Manu Smriti and its violent verses? Look at the irony there. That being a kafir, I cannot quote verses that only Muslims can quote. So I ask the Muslims, why don't you quote the verses? You have a few Muslims on your panel. Why don't they quote the verses? Quote 434, quote 3359, quote 3357. Prove me wrong.
Well, Dr. Ranganathan, let me